And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Monday. It's March 7th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. Well, you go from one Monday to another. You go from sunshine to rain. That's what we got this morning. But top of the morning to you, and welcome to our program. We are going to be talking about Absolute Kubota as we do each Monday at this time, and T.R. Kirby is here for today, and I hope for this month. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. You here for the month, you think?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you and Don Hamlet swap times. Don was here through the month of February, so we'll have you for March each Monday, and, of course, talk about Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon, where they sell Kubota tractors, hay equipment, Kubota zero-turn mowers, and Kubota RTVs, everything from weed eaters to hay balers.
Yes, sir.
Well, how was February for you?
It was a good month. Just everybody coming in, getting their landscaping supplies to get that yard in shape for this summertime, get it looking good. We carry all of your landscape products there at 1506 West Main. Right now, it's that perfect time to put out that pre-emergent 1906. We got it in stock there. Come see us. The going rate's a bag per quarter acre. And that's a really good rate. So if you've got an acre, 4 bags to the acre, it's really good. Just keep that yard looking good and growing healthy.
Is that mostly for killing crabgrass?
No, it's a pre-emergent, so it whatever starts to germinate before it germinates to start growing. It's kind of it doesn't let it start growing. So if you've yard is kind of dormant right now, especially the fescue's dormant right now. You put down this pre-emergent, and it doesn't allow that weeds to start growing. If
Not only crabgrass, but maybe some of the others that are undesirable.
Correct.
Okay, good.
And then if you've already got weeds, we do have post-emergence. Come see us down there. We can always get you in touch with our landscape supply specialist. He's went to school for all this turf science. And he's really knowledgeable, and we feed off of him all the time.
Yeah. We talk about your your deals, quote unquote, but one of the big things, I think, the zero financing, and for such a long period of time to pay for some of these tractors and other equipment that people have, those are still in place, aren't they?
Correct, they are. Right now they're holding strong. I'm sure everybody's heard in the housing markets, interest rates have gone up. In equipment, they have stayed the same. They're pretty much just flatlining where they are right now, 0% for 60 months on most tractors, and then 0 for 48 on most all turf equipment. Some of the smaller units are 0 for 36. They do offer cash discounts as well. If you do finance it, Kubota does require you have some form of insurance. We always recommend K-TAC insurance. It's really good insurance. It covers it pretty much anything except like 2 exclusions.
Well, if you can it can have zero interest for a period of time and just make your payments, instead of paying cash, now you may not get a lot, but at least whatever you would have paid cash, a big amount for, you can get a little interest on that while you're getting zero interest on what you're paying for.
Correct, and it's just that peace of mind down the road that you're going to have that money in the bank if something was to come up, and you're not paying for money on the front end with the 0% interest, and that lets you use your money for other means.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a good selling point. Another a helpful thing to help you sell more.
Correct, it is. A lot of people who don't have the funds up front can pay on that monthly there. And then one thing that helps us sell a lot is good parts and service. I've moved into a new role. I do continue to sell, but I also do parts as well. So if you're needing parts for Kubota, Exmark, Hustler, Red Max, we've got them there at 1506 West Main.
Well, you sort of have a dual role then.
Correct.
But having the farm background that you have, probably second nature to you.
It is. I mainly over there can look up any hay tool part. I'm just really familiar with that and tractor parts. We've hired a new gentleman. His name is Sergio. He's really good on the turf side of stuff, and we help each other every day.
Well, I understand the RTVs are a little bit hard to come by, and you don't have a lot of them on display, I don't think. But you order them and hopefully get them after a while. Is
Correct.
that pretty much the way it is?
Yes, sir. We're fortunate to sell a lot of RTVs. We still have a waiting list on RTVs. Still have a waiting list on skid steers. We just got a big shipment of skid steers in, so that list will come back down. So if you're in the market for a compact track loader, come see us, get on the list, and hopefully we can have a quick turnaround time on those, and as well as RTVs.
Well, from what Don has told us, and you can echo this if you like, I think it's true that it's more a thing of popularity of the Kubota than it is a shortage of parts and supplies.
Correct. They have produced the most they've ever produced, and just demand is outpacing production, and we just can't quite catch up to that demand right now. And there will soon, hopefully, be a meeting port where we can start having that quick turnaround time of getting your unit to you same day, if not in the same week, if it's a delivery.
But to say the least, your Kubota is alive and well. It's a very popular number, and especially for smaller farmers, those tractors are pretty much geared to that. You got some that are just very adaptable for small farming, and I think people are making the most of it by coming to 1506 West Main. Not only the good product, but the service after the sale, parts when they're needed, and you take care of your people.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we'll see you next Monday and talk again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coleman.
All right. T.R. Kirby. And that's it for Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon. Your Kubota tractor, hay equipment, zero return board RTV dealer. At 11 minutes after the hour, I want to welcome our State Representative Clark Boyd, who joins us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
It's a little rainy, isn't it?
It is. Driving up here listening to y'all talk about those Kubotas, this weekend I got out. Jada was out of town, so it was just me, and I thought I'm going to do all this yard work and got everything together to build a brush pile, and it was just too windy and dry, and I decided to get it built, but to hold off and do it another weekend. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to fire up the mower and start cutting, because it just felt like a good weekend to do it. But I thought once I go down that road, I can't turn back. So I'm gonna wait a couple more weekends before I cut grass.
All right. Well, you are an outdoors person. I mean, you've walked a good part of the Appalachian Trail, and that's something you're still working on, I understand.
That's right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back here in probably another month and a half, 2 months.
But some part of the time you have to stay cooped up downtown in Nashville in the state capitol building, Legislative Plaza, whatever you're doing down there.
And I would say we are at our busiest right now. My day is scheduled in 10-minute increments, and it just becomes a blur sometimes. And people will come in and start telling me about a bill. They say, I really like House Bill, and they throw the number out there, and I have to stop them and go, I can't memorize all the bill numbers. Tell me who the sponsor is, and I can usually remember it by the person that's carrying the bill.
Yeah.
But this time of year, it is really fast paced. But we're actually reaching a point where some of the subcommittees are going to start closing down. So we should, the pace should slow down a little bit in the next 2 weeks, and it's like a bottleneck of bills moving through. And once they clear the subcommittees and they start shutting down, then the full committees will get busy. They'll take a couple of weeks to hear them all, and then those committees will shut down, and then ultimately there'll be a bottleneck on the House floor.
Well, it's a process you have to go through, and I guess legislation is vetted pretty well if you go through a subcommittee, then a committee, and then on the House floor itself.
That is right. Subcommittees, there's less people on a subcommittee. You're a little bit closer to the bill than you would be at any other time. So you hear a lot of testimony, and if there's a problem with it, you can tell the sponsor. and they can put an amendment on it. And so that's where the real heavy lifting is done, is at the subcommittee
Well,
level.
a lot of times, unless unless a bill is at least somewhat controversial, has a lot of ramifications, or maybe is spending a lot of money, there's a lot of legislation we don't hear much about, and especially don't hear much about it until it gets to the House floor, and sometimes it even passes, and there's not much publicity given to it.
I would agree with that. And then there's always those sensational bills that people hear about and people will call. And I don't hear, like right now, that there's a lot of stuff in the education realm, but I don't serve on education. So if someone wants to have a conversation with me about it, I oftentimes have to go back and watch video or go talk to one of my colleagues on that committee to get their take on the bill so that I can explain it to a constituent. The same thing. What else do we have going on? There's some election stuff coming down the pike. I'll tell you about that later. I won't get into too much of that now. But if it doesn't come through a committee that I serve on, I don't really get a chance to take it apart and look at the inside of it.
Okay, let's take our break right here. State Representative Clark Boyd is with us. We've got a lot more to talk about, so please keep it here at FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. It's $49.95 up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal. Tire rotation safety check too. 1673 West Main. We have a crash on I-40 eastbound past Mount Juliet exit. Now with the rest of traffic, let's check in with Chuck.
Good morning. Watching traffic increase even more now on 65 down through Madison. It's still running slow from that earlier wreck just past the Jolton exit there on 24 as you come eastbound. That's still running really slow there at Whites Creek Pike on 24 eastbound. Heavy traffic trying to get through Hendersonville coming inbound on Vietnam Vets. We still see a heavy volume of traffic also on 24 through the Hickory Hollow area coming in from Rutherford County. Warmer weather is on the way, but hey, go there right now. Pensacola Beach. Book your next getaway. PensacolaBeach.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
The 34th Annual Tennessee Beef Agribition returns to the James E. Ward Ag Center in Lebanon, March 11th through the 13th. Friday, they will feature the Breed Show. Then Saturday at 10 a.m., selling Simmental, Hereford, Shorthorn, and Angus cattle. The 2022 Agribition will feature one of the largest trade shows in the Southeast. Open Friday and Saturday from 9 to 5 with Western attire, jewelry, and decor, agricultural products, services, and equipment. That's March 11th through the 13th at the James E. Ward Agricultural Center in Lebanon.
Exmark builds mowers that deliver a perfect cut in less time. Because we believe what you get out of your lawn, not your mower, is what matters most.
Find signature cut quality, comfort, and reliability. Exmark's Laser Z is the zero-turn more landscape pros trust. Find attractive financing and the Exmark that's right for you at Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon.
Exmark, official mowers of the backyard life.
Coleman and Company, it's a Monday morning. A little bit of rain falling in our life. Hopefully this front's going to come through and not do a lot of wind damage, and then we'll have a nice week in front of us here. State Representative Clark Boyd is here. Now, what would you like to talk about next?
Well, Coleman, I'll tell you this. I think last time I was on here, it was the week that we were expecting the governor to roll out his TISA, which is a replacement for the BEP funding model for public education. We did get that back. And so I was just going to harp on that real quick, and I won't go into a ton of detail, but what they're proposing is to put the funding kind of on a per student level. And so the base funding would be $6,860. That's $6,860 per student. And then there are multipliers. And some of the multipliers are, if you're economically disadvantaged, you'd get a 25% increase. Another 5% for poverty. If you're in a sparse or small district, there would be a 5% kicker. And then the thing that probably concerns me the most, and I don't know everything about the way it's funded now, but there is a 15 to 150% kicker if you have a unique learning need or special education or gifted. And so when I heard that, as soon as I heard that in our little briefing, the first thing that I thought of is if you had a school district somewhere in the state that needed additional funding, would they start saying, we need to test all of our students for reading disabilities and try to get extra money by doing that. Now, I am assured that there are safeguards in place to prevent that from happening, but that's the first obvious thing. And I talked to a lot of my colleagues, and all of them said the same thing. They said, if you had somebody if you had some district that had a shady administrator and they just wanted to get more funding for their district, they could start testing kids that maybe didn't need testing, just trying to stack up layers of unique learning needs. And so I'm assured that can't happen, but that does concern me a little bit.
What are the chances of this legislation, pretty much as the governor has proposed, making it through by the end of this session?
I think they're pushing to get it done by the end of this session. It will move. It's moving through the education committees now, and I think their goal is to get it moved out this year. And so the way they've done it, because there is some additional money. Now, this is recurring money. There's an additional $1 billion that's going to be recurring, and then I believe there's an extra $750 million this year. But what I'm looking at, it benefits Wilson County schools pretty substantially, and Lebanon Special School District. It showed the funding before and the funding after, and it looks like they're going to make out better than they would have before. So it's going to benefit my district, and so I need to have a sit down with our superintendents. I have done that previously, but we're so busy right now with the committees that I'm involved in that I hadn't had a chance and since this came out to have a long conversation with them. But I think they've done it in such a way that I think most districts are going to fare better.
Clark, is there anything about this in the future that concerns you as to being able to fund it? Something would have some runaway costs here that we're not accounting for now as we plan this and plan for the future?
The biggest thing that jumps out to me is just the multiplier that can be applied to the base amount for various reasons, because I just think that you could manipulate the data, right, or something that concerns me a little bit. But like I said, that if they put safeguards in place and prevent that from happening, then I think we'll be
well.
okay.
If we maybe got on hard times or we didn't have as much sales tax revenue or whatever to fund government, is there a way that some of these percentages here that are added to could be cut back in the future if need be?
Oh, I'm sure they could. Absolutely. This is any of this is subject to change, and it could be changed as it goes through the process now. Yeah. But this has been done in a lot of other states. A lot of states have modernized the way they fund public education, and a lot of people have been asking for this for a while. When it came out in the early '90s, I think was the last time they did anything. It was pretty revolutionary at the time, but I just think this is kind of a modernization.
Well,
And
we're talking about almost $7,000 per student in Tennessee. That's a lot of money.
it isn't, but what I was
probably needed.
But I was looking at it a minute ago, and they gave some examples. They said, here's little Johnny and here's little Susie, and they started showing some examples. And Coleman, some of these students, it got up to about $16,000 because they layered on, they go to a rural school. Oh, well, they need help with reading, and then they're low income. And when you start layering all those on, it's pretty substantial. And so it just worries me. I mean, it's not the 6,800; it's the 16,000 that worries me. Yeah. And what you may see districts do to try to get that from 68 up to 16,000. And so I trust that would never happen in Wilson County or Lebanon Special School District, but in other parts of the state, it looks like looks like a low-hanging fruit for some people.
In the weekly update that I get one for you and one for Representative Lynn, but there's some, and usually I get one from both of you each week, and I did this time. But there's talk about a human trafficking bill that maybe identifies convicted human traffickers, and it's something I think the state is trying to crack down on a little bit, and I wondered if you'd like to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, so it's Representative Clay Doggett has the legislation, and it would put a designator on your identification or driver's license. And, Tennessee is really trying to crack down on human trafficking. We have the interstates coming through here, and it is it is a big deal, and I'm not sure that the public is quite as aware of how much of it goes on around here.
Well, when I read some of this here, I mean, it's just appalling to me that you take maybe even as young as 14, 15-year-old, probably girls. I think probably the ones that are involved in this more, females. But to take them and to do what they're doing, that's awful.
It is. It absolutely is.
And anything we can do to help prevent that or to call more attention to it is probably a good thing.
Well, and our law enforcement does a terrific job in Tennessee of cracking down on that and doing stings and everything. And we're just doing our part in the legislature to try to help them, to maybe identify someone. You know, last year we passed a bill that if you had a commercial driver's license and you were convicted of that, because apparently that's a thing. A lot of people with commercial driver's license are using their vehicles as a way of transporting these people, and you can never, if you get out of jail, no matter what you've done or how good a behavior you had and you're paroled, you'll never have a commercial driver's license again. And so that was something we did, and I think this is a step in the right direction too.
Well, the human trafficking, the drug trafficking, things are just blights on our society, and we can't prevent it all, but we can make penalties more rigorous, spend more time in jail, whatever, make you pay harder if you're caught.
Yeah, and also in the education realm, there are several bills all seeking to do the same thing, and I'm not sure which one is going to emerge as the bill that everyone gets behind, but to prevent the obscene materials that we're hearing about, that we're seeing in school libraries in Tennessee. And so I can't say this enough. I don't serve on education, so I can't tell you about any particular testimony or anything that I've heard, but I know that my colleagues that serve there are trying to put something together that would give the LEAs a little bit more authority, as well as parents to be involved in this, to get those out of the schools. And so that's something that's being worked on. I think I told you some time back that I was working on a cyber security bill for utilities in Tennessee. And when I started that, it was just something that one of the utilities in Tennessee said, you know, we're doing this. It'd probably be a good idea if y'all made sure that we were all doing this. And so I filed it. It didn't have a lot of attention. But since then, Russia has invaded Ukraine, and when you listen to the news, every other sentence is, you know, potential cyber attack, and so this legislation has grown some legs since then, and so we're working on that right now and just trying to make sure that our main utilities that we rely on, particularly water, wastewater, electricity, and natural gas, that those utilities we don't want to see their cybersecurity plan. We believe that's proprietary, and if it's floating around out there, it could fall into the wrong hands. It could be used against them. So we don't want to see it. We just need them to certify that they have one. And there are some of these smaller, more mom and pop utilities out there that maybe don't have one. And so we're going to, if they don't have one, we're going to hook them up with the Department of Safety, Homeland Security, and try to help them get one. And our goal is that coming out of this, that every utility in Tennessee that provides those particular utilities will have a cybersecurity plan.
Well, that probably comes under the heading of an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure.
That's right.
You know, if something like that should happen, and they're going to hold you hostage, make you pay millions of dollars just to get whatever they've hacked into and are destroying or keeping from working, that's bad.
That is bad, yeah. And so that was, we're working on that one. I ran it through subcommittee last week, and it's going to full committee this week, and I don't expect any problems or anything out of that legislation. We mentioned a minute ago when we were offline that there's a bill right now that would require candidates for U.S. Senate or U.S. House that they would have to live in Tennessee for 3 years. And my understanding is there's two versions. There's the House version and the Senate version. Again, I don't serve on any of the elections committees, but I've heard a little chatter about it because it would affect the 5th Congressional District, where a lot of people in Lebanon and Mount Juliet now live since they've redrawn the lines. Mm-hmm. And I think that most people are supportive of this idea. They think if you're going to run for Congress in Tennessee, now we can't, let me back up and say, we can't prevent you from getting on the ballot. that's defined in the Constitution, but we might have a little bit of authority with regard to running in a primary to getting the designation of Republican or Democrat. And so this bill seems to be popular. The concern that we have is never before have we ran a bill that would affect people that are currently running for office or planning to run for office. And there have been a lot of people that have put their name in the hat to run in this new open seat, the fifth congressional district, that would be affected by this.
And your bill would require 3-year residency.
That's right.
You got to have lived here 3 years.
That's right. Now, there's two versions. There's a Senate version and the House version. And the Senate version would affect the folks that are running now. The House version would take effect in the next election. And again, I think most people, they like that idea. I mean, they want you to be a Tennessean if you're gonna run. But but there are cases where people move here legitimately and perhaps have been here a year and decide, well, I'm going to run for office. And so you really do have to think about, what do we want to do? I mean, at what point are you a Tennessean? And so
have you decided you pretty much for this?
I haven't. I'm still thinking about it too. I haven't. I'm on the fence, and like I said, it depends on which version ends up in front of me, because I'm just not sure that I want to yank the rug out from beneath somebody that had the authority to run when the seat was announced. So
it's like changing horses in the middle of the
That's
spring.
right. That seems a little bit unfair. And I think that there's somebody in the Senate that has an axe to grind. I think it's what started all this. But I'm following this one, but I have not had a chance to vote on it yet.
All right. Well, we're out of time here. Thanks so much for being with us. I hope to see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Coleman.
All right. State Representative Clark Boyd, and that's part one of Coleman and Company. We've got more. Keep it here, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota Fully Staffed Service Center and Parts Department, most of their minor services can be done the same day, servicing Exmark, Kubota, Land Pride, Red Max, and Billy Goat. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic's really extra slow here on 40 westbound at Spence Lane as they try to work their way up to this accident here. Again, it's 40 westbound. Over here near the airport's got traffic really slow around Spence Lane. As you come past Briley Parkway, it's just creeping along. It's a wreck 40 eastbound near the Mount Juliet exit. It's also getting some attention there in Wilson County. Give yourself extra time out here. It's really gotten busy in the last few minutes. Princess Hot Chicken now available for catering. Log on to princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
It's a big week ahead for the Cumberland University Phoenix baseball team. Tuesday, March 8th, they travel to Waleska, Georgia to take on the 21st-ranked Reinhardt Eagles. Then it's back home on Friday, March 11th to take on the 11th-ranked team in the nation, the University of Cumberland, in a single game at 1 p.m. Friday. Saturday, March 12th, doubleheader begins at noon against the University of Cumberland. Hear all the action on either WANT-FM 98.9, WCOR AM 1490, WANTFM.com, or GoCumberlandAthletics.com. Go Phoenix.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
To kick off the work week, showers and storms are in the forecast with highs topping out near 70 degrees. Tuesday's forecast calls for cloudy skies with highs in the low 50s. We stay dry on Wednesday as well. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. Let's look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist T.J. Scott.
Well, good morning again, and welcome to part 2 of Coleman and Company. It's a Monday. Mondays we get to see Billy Mullinax with Rocky Williams, Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram of Mount Juliet. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
good morning to you, and welcome again, of course.
Well, it's always good to be here. It gets my week started off on the right foot.
Well, I think you help us all have maybe be in a little bit better Monday attitude or whatever.
Well, I sure hope so, Coleman. I want to help.
Billy is the general manager for Rocky Williams, and they're located at 600 Pleasant Grove Road in Mount Juliet, as he says on the good side.
On the easy side.
The
easy side of the interstate.
Well, what we talk about, one of the things at least each Monday when Billy's here is the no haggle pricing. Everybody pays the same great low price at Rocky Williams. They price their cars and not their customers.
That's exactly right, Coleman. I had a gentleman that is a friend of mine that was texting back and forth with me earlier in the week, and he had found a vehicle online that he liked, and he said, tell me what your best price is. And I said, Rod, you know that we're a one-price store, and you know that is the best price, what you see posted on the website. That's the price that I'm going to pay, that Rocky's going to pay, and that everybody else is going to pay.
And if you buy it, it's what you're
That's the one that you're going to pay. And he knew that, but people, even your friends sometimes will test you and see. But we start and finish, with a great low price. It's one we're not ashamed to post on our website, and.
Well, you just start as low as you can go. It's that simple,
right.
Really.
Yep.
And so that's the way it is. Want to remind everybody every week, remind you of the website. You can see the entire inventory of new and pre-owned cars at RockyWilliams.com.
You might see your neighbor there, Coleman.
Yes, sir. RockyWilliams.com, and you do get that no haggle price right there. And if that's all you want, you're not going to be any follow-up from your visit to the website.
That's exactly right, Coleman. It's you can shop in privacy, if you will, and know that somebody's not going to call you just because you were on the website unless you submit information to us and want us to call you.
Well, we talk about your car inventory from time to time, and with most new car dealers, new cars have been harder to come by, and maybe for a year or longer.
Well, that's right.
But I think you've had a pretty good January and February in spite of that handicap.
We've had really good January, February, Coleman, and March is starting off really, really good also. And we are low like everybody else on new inventory, but we've ramped up our used car inventory, Coleman, and we've got about 220 pre-owned vehicles. And a lot of them are a year old or less, and some with less than 10,000 miles. And we've got, I think, one that's got 700 miles or something like that. So it's almost a new pre-owned vehicle.
If a car has 10 or 12 or less thousand miles on it, they're not even hardly gotten broken in good.
That's exactly right. It's still, to me, it's still a new car.
Yeah,
So.
Your sales team is there Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yes.
And I don't think you'll probably keep the same hours. You remember next Monday, I believe, or next Sunday.
Next Sunday,
daylight saving time.
We will keep the same hours.
Next Monday, the sun's going to be an hour earlier.
That's
for me
exactly right. That's right.
And everybody else.
But we will keep the same hours, Coleman. And with daylight savings time coming, it's time people start thinking about vacations. Probably it's getting that time of year, and so if your old vehicle isn't quite in tip top shape, our service department can certainly get you back up and where you feel good about going on a trip. Or if your one you've got now just doesn't quite fit the needs, maybe your family has grown, or you've getting a few more miles and you don't feel comfortable in traveling, we've got a great selection of vehicles, Coleman.
Well, sometimes you need a bigger vehicle to
Yep.
accommodate everybody. Sometimes I guess you may need to downsize. If you want a smaller one, you don't have as many passengers, and you got a great big four-door sedan, you want a smaller one, it probably works both ways.
Well, it does. It does work. Most of the time, people don't go down, no, as a general rule. Once they get kind of used, it's kind of like a house, Coleman. You know, when you get used to a certain size house, you kind of fit everything into that house, and it's hard to go back.
Well, large or small, you're going to do your best to satisfy the needs of your customers, and that's another good thing. You mentioned this a number of times, but I think it bears repeating that your salesmen don't make any more if they get more for. I mean, they don't set the price. They don't set the price.
Yeah.
So
they're non-commissioned,
right?
Which means that, you know, under normal circumstances, if you pay more or that vehicle makes more, they make more. Our salespeople are not paid that way, Coleman. So I had a customer just Saturday night that bought a vehicle that was talking about what, you know, he said typically you get into situations where you feel like you're being pressured, and you know, it's just almost like you can't leave. And said, we have never felt that way here. We felt just like, if you want the vehicle, here it is, and this is the price, and if you don't, we understand. And that's kind of the way we look at it, Coleman.
All right. Well, I guess that's a good note to end on this morning, but thanks so much for being with us. Hopefully this front's not going to do a lot of damage, and we'll have a great week ahead of us, and I hope it's a good one for you, and we'll see you next Monday.
See you next Monday.
All right, great. Billy Mullinax, he's General Manager for Rocky Williams Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram of Mount Juliet, 600 Pleasant Grove Road. 20 before the hour, it's the first Monday of the month, and Sheriff Robert Bryan joins us. Sheriff, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are we?
I am doing well. How are you today?
We're good. Pretty weekend, and then rain comes in, and it's supposed to get cold next weekend.
I guess the first thing that I thought about that I would mention to you came to me sometime last night or this morning as I'm thinking the sheriff's going to be here, and one of the things he's no doubt very, very happy about, the qualifying deadline has passed, and you're the only one that's going to be on the ballot for sheriff, as far as I know.
Yes, sir, and it's it's humbling, and that qualifying date, like all people decides to run for office, on that qualifying date, you take a deep breath and go, "Ooh," but like I said, it's humbling with that. The citizens of this county, let me do my job, and I appreciate it, and I hope I really do.
You've got to think. Well, maybe one or two things. Either nobody else wants the job, or you've done a pretty good job, so they don't want to challenge you.
Well,
I hope it's. I think it's the latter.
But I hear that all the time. Like, who would want this job? But it's not about me. It's not about. It's more about the office and the people who work for me, and they're doing a great job every day, and they're putting their lives on the line every day, and I'm just leading them, and but I got good people.
They do, and it's not a job that everybody can't be sheriff. I mean, even if they could, I would be a poor sheriff. I'll tell you that right now. I'm glad that we've got some people, and you, if I can brag about you a little bit here. I mean, you probably. When you were a little bitty boy, you may have even lived in the old jail over there behind the courthouse on the square, didn't you? Or
yes,
okay.
yes. When I was, I was little, but yeah, I think my mother got me out of there pretty quick, so she made my bond.
Yeah, but your daddy was sheriff, and then I guess Terry Ash, he ran to jail for Terry later on, and you've your whole life has been involved around not just law enforcement, but primarily the sheriff's office of Wilson County.
Pretty much. I mean, yes. I mean, I got out of high school and 18, 19 years old, I got hired on by the city of Lebanon Police Department, and that's really all I've ever done. And it's had its ups and downs. I've seen law enforcement change over the years dramatically. It's just you got to try your best to keep up with it because it's changing every day. And
well, one of the things you have to do, there's certain things that is required of a sheriff. There's certain standards that have to be maintained, and I think we are well above that here. But part of your job is to see that the law is met, that we carry out what is required, and of course, part of that is running a jail. Part of that is law enforcement. Part of that is serving warrants. You have to be involved with drug trafficking and trying to catch those who are perpetrators there. It's a big job.
The office of sheriff in Tennessee and across the country, it encompasses a lot of stuff, okay? And you named a bunch of them right there, the jail, the big thing, and civil process and warrants, and you name it. It's a one-stop shop, and it's a big job. And I've got good people helping me run that office, so it's just a lot of stuff involved in the sheriff's office.
Well, before we go to the break here, I know from time to time I don't think you've had the shortage in your department, and maybe some of the other, especially the emergency management, has had. But are you hiring now?
We originally, we see the shortages in other agencies across the state here and across the state, and it's. I know we got to take a break in just a minute. We may have to follow after the break, but we did see a shortage in our corrections, and we're seeing it today as far as corrections and back in the jail. We're continuously hiring back there. I think we have 10, 12 position openings right now. Originally, once we did see right during COVID, we saw some shortages on the patrol level, but that is caught up and we're fully staffed there. So we are seeing some shortages, and yes, we are hiring.
Okay. All right, let's take our break, and more with Sheriff Robert Ryan coming up here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota, fully staffed service center and parts department. Most of their minor services can be done the same day, servicing Exmark, Kubota, Land Pride, Red Max, and Billy Goat, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. A lot going on out here. They're trying to clear up a crash. Everybody's staring at it. 24 westbound in Haywood Lane. That's a pretty good backup I'm looking at right now. There's also been a crash out here on 65 southbound near Harding Place. That's just adding to that delay, trying to get down through that section of South Nashville. Still bumper to bumper, 40 west, trying to make your way past the wreck near Spence Lane over near the airport. Warmer weather is waiting on you at Pensacola Beach. Book your next getaway, PensacolaBeach.com. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
The 34th Annual Tennessee Beef Agribition returns to the James E. Ward Ag Center in Lebanon, March 11th through the 13th. Friday, they will feature the Breed Show. Then Saturday at 10 a.m., selling Simmental, Hereford, Shorthorn, and Angus cattle. The 2022 Agribition will feature one of the largest trade shows in the Southeast. Open Friday and Saturday from 9 to 5 with Western attire, jewelry and decor, agricultural products, services, and equipment. That's March 11th through the 13th at the James E. Ward Agricultural Center in Lebanon.
Do you know why Rocky Williams Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Mount Juliet sells so many cars, trucks, SUVs, and muscle cars? Well, it all starts with a simple idea. Why not give everyone a hassle-free shopping experience for their new or used vehicle with no haggling, no negotiating, and no runaround? Every vehicle on the Rocky Williams lot is marked down incredibly low with the price posted on the window. You're treated with fairness and respect every time. No pressure, just a friendly, warm, inviting staff dedicated to finding the exact vehicle you need. So Rocky Williams from your Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram has become the original no-haggle, one-price dealer. Go online to RockyWilliams.com to see the incredible deals yourself. Every car and truck is listed with a no-haggle low price. This is for real, and you're gonna love it. People drive for miles to get some of the lowest prices in America on their new or used cars or trucks. Go to RockyWilliams.com or come on over to our brand new spacious dealership next to Walmart in Mount Juliet.
Coleman and Company on a Monday morning, and Sheriff Robert Bryan is here. The first Monday is just yours. We've established that.
I think we're getting pretty good at it, Coleman.
I think so. The only question is whether it's 7 or 7:30, and of course it's 7:30 when the legislature's in session, and that's only because before you got set in stone to be on the first Monday, the legislators were here for years before. So, but that way you get the best of both worlds. We got some people that listen from 7 to 7:30, others from 7:30 to 8, I guess, and hopefully a lot of people listen the whole hour. But you get a shot at them at both times this way.
That's right. That's right. Working well. We're working well. And I know you'll let me know when I move back to 7 o'clock. So.
Oh yes. Well, and Vicky, of course. Vicky Mofield Huffines in your office. She's still there, right?
She's still there taking care of it.
I haven't had to talk to her much lately.
Yeah,
We've got, but she's always been a jewel to keep things going and our communication if we need to talk and whatever. So put in a good plug for her. I know you want to talk about I guess the county commission last Monday night approved some increase in pay, and I don't know how that affects you, but tell us about it.
Well, yeah, they did approve some funds to get through. I believe it was June of this year to give some women, a portion of women employees a increase in their pay, which well deserved. Okay, they're well deserved. The big picture is, they're behind, and as far as it relates to pay, and I'm fine. And we've done some studies on our own prior to this pay study that they're in the process of doing now, and hopefully we'll get that back sometimes. I'm hearing maybe this week, at least to get an eyeball what it says, but. The preliminary studies we've done on our own, just checking with comparable departments across the state, we're behind too. And I would hope that the county commissioners come budget time, and I would ask them to take care of their county employees, all of them. It's county employees are the backbone. I mentioned them earlier. How everything is run in our department, and there's county employees all the way across the county, and I think they are looking at that.
One of the things that probably makes it imperative to take a better and closer look at that even is the inflation that we are going through. I mean, I hope the thing with gas prices is a temporary thing, but I mean, just the price of gas is increased tremendously in just the last few weeks.
The gas pumps. Go to the gas pumps if you and not just gas. I went to grocery store this weekend, and it's and things that were $2 back 6 months ago are $6 today, and it's crazy, and that's even if they got it on the shelf, So, but it's. Everything's hitting right now as it relates to the cost of everything, and it's hurting our employees. It's hurting everybody, and I would hope there's a fix to it at some point, and we'll see.
Well, Robert, there might have been a time when we could cut back an employee here and one there or something, but the way we're growing now, I don't think there's any way you can get by with less employees.
Let me say this, we try our best to do with what we have. Them numbers are budgeted for a reason as it relates to personnel, expenses inside the department. But, we pinch pennies too, okay? If we don't have to spend it, we're not going to spend it. But once you talk about employees and the number of employees or number of deputies or number of correctional officers out there back there in the jail or the number of deputies out there on the road, we have to keep at a certain number. We can't go backwards. And here we go at this table. We said growth again, and we do it up. You hear it on this table all the time, and you can't let that growth pass you. Once it passes you, it's hard to catch up, and we're seeing that right now. As far as it relates to pay, we went a couple of years without doing anything for the employees, and now it's caught back up to us, and we're going to have to deal with it.
Some people suggest, and I don't know if this is possible or feasible, but they'd say it would probably be awfully nice and really beneficial if you could do that, to have some sort of a pay increase every year. Maybe a small one, but what do you think of that?
And yes, I think it's something every year. Something, and that was in place. That was in place before. It that gives so many percent, depending on what the growth rate, the growth funds were every year. It would decide whether you do an increase in pay. We got away from that during COVID, and we need to get back to it. First of all, we need to adjust to get everybody where they need to be. Listen, it don't affect my salary whatsoever, okay? But
your salary set
mine's set by the state, but get where we need to be, and let's not fall behind. That's important. Do not fall behind where we're rushing to try to figure out what we're going to do.
Well, you do have some construction going on up there. If you want to give us an update, I see. I guess the walls are finished. It's as high as it's going to be, I think.
Right, it is.
Got most of the outside done.
It is. That the outside structure of the walls and things are up. The roofing on 90% of it's on. Should be dried in. I hope this weather may slow us up today. Here this week or next week. Once one section of it is dried in, and I was telling Mr. No Haggle earlier out in the lobby that we're at that point, when you build a house, the walls go up fast, and then everything slows down because you got to put wires and plugs and plumbing and all that. That's where we're at now, and it looks like it slowed down, but it hadn't. They're working inside, pulling all them wires, doing all the plumbing and things like that. But they are ahead of schedule as of last week, and they're moving right along. We hope to have that thing fully operational as far as opened sometime the first quarter or in first quarter of next year. So
we're about a year away. About a year away.
Yeah, I'd say close. About a year. The thing about it, we've got two sections of jail. You got your old part of the jail that they're going to have to do some redoing, remodeling, new technology. So once the new part gets built, we have to move everybody over to the new part so they can work in the old part. So that's what's on up into next year where they had to fix that. So,
let me throw something else out here. I don't know how much you want to comment on this, but there was.
You want to throw a curveball?
No, the as far as emergency calls goes and 911, that I think you're doing what you've been doing for quite some time.
We have, and
the city made a change.
They did, and it's. I don't know how to put this, but the city made a change, and they moved everything back to the police department, and that's their decision. Okay, we continue to do what we're doing. We are building a dispatch center in this new construction, and we would hope probably in the future reach out to some of them people and see if different agencies and see how we can work together and make it better. It's working now, okay, but even though it's working, how can we make it better? So that's where we're at.
Well, we got about 3 minutes. Anything else on your mind this morning? I mean, the weather. Well, when we have, and this 2 years ago, the anniversary of the tornado that came through, and that's probably on a lot of people's minds, especially those that were affected. Severe weather is somewhat of a challenge to your personnel.
It is. We have personnel that's trained and educated in weather forecasting that stays in contact with the National Weather Service in Mount Juliet, and they keep us updated as far as it relates to weather. But since them tornadoes, have you seen the stress? I reckon anytime a front comes through.
What does somebody out on patrol do if there's a tornado warning and it's headed right?
Well, let me tell you a story. During that tornado 2 years ago, we always told our people when it starts hailing, get them cars under something so it won't damage it. Well, they did, and they pulled up under an awning at the school that the tornado hit, and it busted every window, and the awning and everything went blown away, but they was under 2 cars under and on in that night. But I told them to get out of the hail, but they hit the tornado. So it's, but yeah, it's, we do, during an event like just any weather event, our calls increase. They can't just pull up and stop somewhere and, because them call, you have wrecks and different things, they still go on. So they're out there answering calls during these things. So,
and if it's pouring down rain and hailing and whatever, and somebody's had an accident, I mean they got to be there.
They got to be there, and us and ambulance personnel, and that's their busy times, and it's plus everything else the calls we get, because we continue to get them calls even during weather events, and talking about weather and rain, and people just need to slow down. People are in too big a hurry nowadays.
Well. I appreciate your visit each time, and I guess I can end sort of like we began. You don't have any opposition. Nobody's come out to run against you. You'll still have a few campaign signs out, no doubt, but we won't have to worry about equal time for an opponent or anything. You come on the first Monday of each month, and you'll be here, and we'll welcome you, of course.
Yeah, and like I said, we are still going to go out and put up the signs, and we're going to continue to be active out in the community, and because we want to show people that we appreciate what their confidence in us, and that we're here for them, but we're going to work to stay busy during this election. And this election season's a little different this year. So,
well, Sheriff, thanks for being with us. We will see you in April.
Yes, sir.
And that is it for Monday. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. And until then, I wish you a magnificent day.